Okay, let's go for the obligatory mic check now that everything's settled down with the stream. How are we doing here? Waiting that catching up first. Why is it doing that? Why is it doing that? That's weird. Oh, there we go. Why is it doing that? That's weird. Oh, there we go. A little bit of a delay going on there between... Okay, there's always a delay, but this time the delay's a little bit longer. That's odd. I don't know why it's doing that. So, how's everybody doing? Thanks for tuning in all. This is Meet the Lindens, the product team at SL23B. I'll be honest, I'm not really clued up on what the product team actually does. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of questions they get. I'm guessing it's to do with like Second Life Marketplace, Second Life itself, and stuff. That's what I'm guessing anyway. We'll find out. We'll find out when the questions pour in. Let's have a quick look at the stage so you can expect to see how many people is going to be up there. We have got 3 chairs. One's the host, that's probably going to be where Brett's going to be sitting, and we're going to be having 2 people from the product team. Let's have a little sneaky peek behind the curtain and see who's back there. It's the same people. You've got Brett, and they're all facing the wall this time. You've got Brett, you've got Abner, there's Abner right there, and of course you've got Izzy with the stoned cat. Let's spin round and have a look at Izzy's stoned cat, shall we? There we go. Oh, hold on. Still got that image in front. That's better. So there's Izzy's stoned cat. There's Brett at the far side. And of course, you've got Abner Mole over there. They've been, like, Abner and Izzy's been backstage in every single one of these. Every one of them. Even the opening ceremony, they were backstage for that as well. Let's have a look around the actual main floor. See what blue names we can pop out. There we go. There's Bree. Brigantia Mole. Who else have we got here? We have got Ancient Mole. I wonder when Ancient was going to pop up. There's Ancient. We also, of course, have It's a Mole. There's another blue name going into the front of the shot. That's Mini Mole. There's a lot of moles. A lot of moles, probably because it's the product team that's up this time. Speaking of a lot of moles, where is a lot of mole? Oh, there's a lot of mole there. There we go. There's a lot of mole who's currently a cloud. And we've got a Linden, Katie Linden, who's also currently a cloud. Hold on, what's a lot of mole got there? Ah, it's the golden ticket thing that's going on. Let's who's in the expensive seat. There's KN Republic. A mini KN Republic. Oh, isn't that cute? Any blue names up here? Not seeing any. So far, nope. I think they're all down on the ground. Who's that? That's it. Yeah, I think they're all down. Oh, wait a minute. There's one. Moonstruck Mole. With another golden ticket. Placard. And we're back to the beginning again. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, look at that. They've actually got cake. It took them long enough. 2 videos of me, 2 live streams of me complaining there's no cake on the stage. They finally got cake. And they've even got cupcakes. Look at that. Little cupcakes. That is awesome. Awesome. Anyway. So that's it, folks. The product team probably won't be quite as busy as it was for the live stream yesterday. Obviously, it was Philip Linden yesterday. When we drill down into the individual teams, like it's the engineering team that's up tomorrow, they generally tend to be a little bit quieter, just a little bit quieter, which makes me a little bit more happy, because that way I know the viewer's not going to instantly crash for no reason apart from there being too many people on screen. But yeah, so things will be that little bit quieter, just a little bit quieter. We've got Ms. Dee Northerton saying, "Hey Vic, listening to you while sitting in front row next to oh, you're next to the cake. Hold on. Let's cam into you. Next to the cake. There's the cake. Miss Dee Northern Iron. Which one are you? So you're one of these 3 people. Well, you said next, so that must be you there. Blondie? Because your name doesn't match your name in World, so you've kind of confused me. Yeah, Blondie. There we go. There she is there. Your AO's making you sit inside the chair, by the way. Just saying. Actually, it might not be your AO, it might be me. Is it me? It might be me, actually. I don't know. Oh. A furry. Hi. Shrek. See these names, by the way. Shrekx. 7434. How you doing, Shrekx? How you doing, Knight Rider? There we go, you're not sitting in the chair anymore. That's you all sorted. So, product team. I'm guessing this is going to be for stuff like the Second Life Marketplace. Bellisaria. Linden Homes. That kind of stuff. I've actually just got myself a new... What's the name of it? The Cross something. It's one of the new Linden homes. Cross something? I can't remember the name now. I'm still in the middle of decorating it. It's actually quite a nice area. I used to be on one of the houseboats. I was on that houseboat for since the houseboats first came out for Linden homes, and then everybody left. So I was basically sitting there myself, and I went, yeah, maybe I should find a new neighbourhood to move into. I think that's the one, Sarah. Ridgewood. Yeah, that rings a bell. I know it's in one of the newer areas, and the home itself just launched not that long ago. So you've got the 1024 variant, and you've got the 2046 or 2046. I think that's the plot size. 2046 variant, and you can change textures and stuff. I think it's Ridgewood. I think it is. Oh, the cake. Well, yeah, that's right. The cake would be clickable. Right, hold on. I need to switch off the fly cam first before I click. An object gave SL23B cake V1.0. So let's have a look at recent. Oh, look at that! Whole bunch of options. There's no cupcake stuffed in face option, unfortunately. Go for cupcake 2. Holdable. Let's switch the fly cam back on and have a look. Where am I? Where did I park myself? I'm somewhere at the front. There I am. Oh, I'm next to Sarah. Cake! Finally. It only took them 2 days, but we finally got there, folks. Gratuitous close-up of Sarah, who's sitting next to me. How you doing, Sarah? Any new blue names popping in? I think that's it, though. Mini Mole, Brigantia Mole, Ancient Mole, It's a Mole. We've got a Linden over here somewhere. Oh, no, the Linden's still there. Katie Linden, yeah, you've still got a lot of mole. I think that's it for the moles. There is a lot less blue names, and I've been noticing it. There's a lot less blue names compared to SL23. Wow, Belissaria. See these busy groups. Belissaria has got to be one of the busiest groups I'm a member of. It is non-stop chatter in there. I'm going to close some of these windows. I'm trying not to, Sarah. I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to leave that there. Who's at the back? Oh, we've got a new one. We've got a new one. Who's this? G. It's G. Grumpy. Grumpety. I've never seen that one before. Grumpety Linden. Is that a new one? I don't recognise that name. Grumpety Linden. Does that ring a bell, folks? Doesn't ring a bell for me. That must be a new Linden. If I was to be a Linden, that would be my name, Grumpety. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm usually grumpy. Yeah. And you can tell there's a little bit less, folks, because I'm actually able to fly the camera around without the entire thing grinding to a halt. For the people wondering, by the way, I'm using a 3080. So it's an RTX 3080. It's one of the 12GB variants of the 3080 that I've got, and it's a AMD Ryzen 5800X, not the X3D, because I was an idiot and bought the wrong CPU, and I'm using 64GB of DDR4 memory. So it's kind of a, nowadays it'd be classed as a mid-range computer. That's what I'm using. The 3080, it was struggling yesterday. It was struggling with all those people, but there's a little bit less people now, so I'm not struggling as much. You can see me flying the camera around. There must be about, what? I'm guessing 80 people, roughly 80 people here. Flying the camera around, no problems, but the minute it goes to like 100, 150, 200, it struggles. It definitely struggles. Grumpety is not new, Vic. That's the first time I've seen the name, Sarah. First time I've seen the name. We have got 10 minutes, people, until the interview starts. If you haven't got your drink of choice, whether it be a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, go and make one now. Luckily, I've one. Here's one I prepared earlier. Nice cup of tea. It's not actually a cup. It's like a soup bowl with a handle attached to the side of it of tea. Oh. Aye, that is annoying me, that gap at the back. I am going to bump up the draw distance just to round about 200. 200, that should cover the back. There we go. Is that a unicorn I see at the back? No, it's somebody on a horse. Oh, it is a unicorn. I thought it was a unicorn. Gratuitous close-up of Froggy on her unicorn. Yes. They done a really good job with this. Just the stages that they done this year. Awesome work. Phenomenal work on the stages. They just look gorgeous. Right, let's bring us back down. We'll go for a quick pan. You're 3.74 metres from me, according to my viewer, Vic. Almost seating neighbours then. Although I'm not on a proper seat. Photo Fox. Who's Photo Fox? If you're 3 metres away... 3 metres away. Where are you? I was going to say give us a wave, but that's not going to work. What's your name in world? Not my name there. Astravia. 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 Da 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 da. Da da da. Da da da. 3 metres away. Am I going to have to use the radar now? Because I'm crap at reading the name tags. Hold on. Da, 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 da. 3 metres away. I've got the fly cam on. That's why it's not. There we go. Where are you? See this fly cam thing? Okay, let's try that now. Oh, you're there. You're the little fox dude. There we go. Oh, it's one of those fantasy style avatars. I've seen a lot of these avatars running around actually. You can thank Fantasy Fair for that. You can thank Fantasy Fair for that because some of the creators that are involved in Fantasy Fair, they make some really nice avatars. They really do. So there's Astravia. Looking all cuddly and stuff. See, if this was yesterday, there'd be no chance of me doing a close-up like that. The whole viewer would just crash. But not quite as many people here this time round. Oh, who's this at the back? Looks like some kind of sea otter with Tom Baker's scarf from Doctor Who. Oh, really? This is what I get for automatically accepting objects. Yeah, it's like a sea otter with Tom Baker's scarf from Doctor Who. Let's go back for another gratuitous close-up. That is a really nice avatar though, Astravia. Look at that. Really nice avatar. Six minutes, folks, if you haven't got your cold drink. Especially here because it's sodding well roasting in Scotland right now. It's like almost 9 in the evening and it's 20 Celsius. I've got all the windows wide open. All the fans are currently blowing to try and cool me down. So if you're hearing a lot of fan noise in the background, I've got a fan blowing cold air. Well, it's not really cold air. It's 20 degrees Celsius. It's going to be worse on Thursday apparently. 27 to 28 Celsius for Scotland. That's melting weather because it very rarely gets above 22, 23 C here. Very rarely gets above that. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. Not looking forward to it at all. Okay, let's have another scan around the room, see if there's any more blue names popping up. I don't think there will be. They should all be here by now. Still got Mini Mole. Oh, hold on. There's a new one. Mossy Mole. It's a mole that's been not moving too much. Ergo, there's moss growing on it. Mossy Mole needs to work a little bit more so there's no more moss on him. That's what needs to happen. Moonstruck Mole, of course, with the placard on him. Mini Mole, Brigantia Mole. We've got Grumpy Mole. We've got Abner. We've got It's a Mole. You can tell it's the product team that's up for the interview today because there's a lot of moles around. There's a lot of moles around. Same thing happened in the 2021 SLB because I missed 2022 because it was not 21st. 2021? No, the 21st birthday because I missed the 22nd birthday because I was in hospital. Still got Katie Linden back there. Still got a lot of mole. Oh, and look who's appeared. Hiding away in the corner. It's Wendy. Think you could hide from us, Wendy? You thought you could hide. Wendy's in one of the expensive seats. There's Wendy Mole. All the way up at the back. Everyone shout out to Wendy. See, we've found you. We've found you. You can't hide. Anybody else? Anybody else? I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Oh, we've got Brett. we've got Brett. I am going to set the camera up now because, yeah, we're 3 minutes away. Right, I'm going to set the camera up and get the levels right for the stream. Round about there. So I can bump you down. I know where to put you later on. So just as a reminder, I generally tend to make funny commentary during these live streams. If you don't like the funny commentary, don't watch. This is not a Second Life or Linden Lab ran channel. This is a privately ran channel and I do not work for Linden Lab. There's been people complaining in the comments, I wish that guy would stop making comments above the interview. I want to listen to the interview. Well, I would say go and watch the official Second Life channel, but unfortunately, Linden Lab's not bothering to live stream these. I don't know why, they're just not live streaming them, which is one of the reasons I'm doing it. But if you don't like live commentary, don't watch. Simple as that, don't watch. Oh, there's another Linden. Somebody says Kiera. Where's Kiera? Kiera? I'm not seeing Kiera. Where is she? There's Katie. There's Itza. There's Ancient. Brigantia. Grumpy. Minnie. I'm not seeing Kiera. Unless Kiera's up there with Wendy? No, Wendy's still herself. Where's Kiera? Is it? Oh, there's Kiera. There, she's on stage. Seriously, Vic? Catch up, Vic. Looking in completely the wrong area. She's on stage. Let's have a close-up of Izzy. If you don't know who Izzy is the Linden who's got the stoned cat on his shoulder. And when I say stoned cat, you'll know exactly what I mean. Look at the state of those eyes. Look at the state of the... You cannot tell me that cat is not on something. Seriously. You can't tell me that cat's not on something. And that cat's been stoned since SL23B. Stoned. Totally out of its face. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Let's get things set up here. I'm guessing Izzy is going to be sitting on that empty chair, so I am going to... they've removed the champagne bottle. Anyone that watched the stream yesterday would remember that the people were just randomly clicking on the bottle for the pop sound. And nobody started clicking on it until I clicked on it on the stream and went, oh, it makes a popping sound. They've got rid of the champagne bottle, it's gone. Oh, it was funny. All you heard during the live stream yesterday with Philip Linden was pop, pop, pop. Pop. We did Fouter. We abused the bottle too much. Okay, I think they're going to be starting soon. Because it's now 1 minute past. Oh, it's not Izzy, it's going to be Grumpety London. Yeah, it's Grumpety. I thought it'd be Izzy. Because I'm sure Izzy was part of the Product London team. Or has he moved to somewhere else now? Right, I am going to drop down that so I'm not lagging as much. There we go. They're actually a bit late this time round.
Hello, everyone.
Here we go.
Welcome to another Meet the Lindens event at SL23B. It's great to see everybody here. Before we get started, let's do a quick shout out in chat. If everybody could text your favorite exhibit that you've visited so far, or something you want to let others know about so we can check it out. There's so many great exhibits. We'd love to kind of see what people think is a good place to visit. Give us your favorites. We'll take a look at them and let's see what people are recommending. So while we're looking at that, before we get started, I also want to give a quick reminder to everyone to enter our golden ticket giveaway, where you can win up to 1 million Linden dollars. That's a lot of shopping money. To enter, just click on the entry kiosks that are scattered across the various SLB regions. There's actually 5 in total. So that means that for each account, each day, you can enter up to 5 times with your SL account. You just have to click once per kiosk, 1 entry per kiosk allowed per day. And it's been exciting to see the great response to that so far. We'll be running that contest, I think, in total for 23 days, and then we have a big event with the 23 winners at the end of it. So please take a look and check it out. Yesterday, we had a great Q&A with Second Life founder Philip Rosedale. You can see a recording of that on our official YouTube channel. That's at youtube.com/secondlife. And as a reminder, today's and all Meet the Linden sessions will also be shared on our socials shortly after each session is completed. Also, just a reminder that today's Meet the Lindens is only one of several Q&A sessions. For example, tomorrow we'll be doing a Q&A with our engineering team. And then on Thursday, we have marketing and growth. And then on Friday, we have the Second Life Studios team with the moles on Friday. So lots of great stuff, lots of great questions that we'll be addressing every day. So let's get into today's Q&A. Today, we are joined by Grumpy Linden, who is our Senior VP of Product, and Kira Linden, who is our Manager of Customer Success and Trust and Safety. Both are here to answer your questions. And just as a reminder, we've been taking your questions in advance for the last few days, and so we're going to get to as many as we can. Missy is also here to help us monitor the text chat for additional questions you may have as we go along. Welcome, Grumpy and Kira.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Everybody,
Well, it's great.
thanks. I'm happy to be here too.
It's great that you're both here. Grumpy, I'm going to start with you. Maybe just give a general comment about how things are going with product and maybe an opening statement or two.
Sure. I am really glad. I love doing these, and it's a chance to think about how the past year has gone, right? It's kind of like New Year's resolutions, except it's SLB resolutions. And it's an opportunity to kind of reflect on the changes over the past year. So for me professionally, I am tremendously thrilled that over this year, Jerome has joined Linden as the head of engineering. And now I get to work with an engineering counterpart and also blame everything on him. So that's been super refreshing. From an overall Second Life and product standpoint, it's been a really interesting and dynamic year as well. I think the biggest theme over the past year and into the future has really been finding ways to grow and extend Second Life, and not just for us to rest on our laurels and stay static, but to find ways to bring new residents into Second Life, new participants to the economy, kind of both fresh blood to the lab that helps us think about the world in a different way, and fresh blood to the world to keep everything vibrant and changing. And it's been a really interesting year. And we did a bunch of experimentation. We made changes. We evolved. We took what we learned to start planning new things. And I can't wait to get into all of it.
We have a lot to cover. There were a lot of questions that came in across all 5 Meet the Linden sessions, but I have to say, I think we had the most for today's. So there's quite a few. Maybe I'll just jump in, just as I mentioned, a lot of them have come in advance. And Kira, by the way, is here as well. Kira, I don't know if you want to offer up an opening statement, or just would you prefer we jump into the questions? Up to you.
I mean, I can reiterate some of the stuff that Grumpity said. It's been a very interesting year, a year with a lot of change, which I really like. There's a lot of opportunities for us to try some things that we haven't in the past, and I'm super excited to be involved in that. But yeah, we can go ahead and just hop into questions since we've got so many.
Awesome, thank you both. Okay, so one of the hottest questions that we're getting has to do with pricing and affordability. Actually, several people asked variations of the same question. So I'm going to paraphrase sort of to bring it together here for time reasons. But basically speaking about some of the recent changes. So for example, we recently reduced private region monthly fees, and we've actually done that several times over the last decade, with something fairly recently being announced as well. And residents seem to have appreciation for that, but at the same time, some concerns about the overall pricing strategy. So looking ahead, are there plans to further reduce the barriers to land ownership, whether through lower setup costs, lower monthly fees, new ownership models, or making homesteads available without requiring ownership of a full region? So to address the issue of land pricing.
Well, let me actually take a step back and talk about pricing overall. And then come back to the specifics of this question. I want to acknowledge that everything is getting more expensive. Like every single service I pay for, whether it is in order, to continue the day to day, or things that I've reevaluated whether I need in the way that I have or not, has gotten more expensive. And not just this year,
True,
but
everything is expensive.
pretty much every year. And every day I open my email and there's a notification about some service increasing their pricing. It is not easily that we ever approach pricing changes in Second Life, and we always try to weigh how to keep Second Life healthy while doing these, and how best to invest what we have into growing Second Life. So when I first started at Linden, the possibly first thing I heard was that the rent is too damn high. And we have consistently tried to lower the barrier to entry for land ownership and for people to be able to participate in the land economy, because everything in Second Life ultimately happens on land, right? We're all sitting here on land, and so does everything else. We've tried to make land more affordable, but not only that, we've really tried to just lower the barrier to entry into the Second Life economy everywhere. And while prices have gone up for some, we have consistently tried to keep some opportunities to participate in the Second Life economy and to participate in a subscription without increasing prices there. And we've lowered the price of land. Again, like every year since 2017, we've lowered mainland prices, we've lowered
True, they have lowered
region prices, we've lowered the 30K prices, and we try to approach this from different directions so that we keep balancing the economy. The one thing I have not seen in any other product, honestly, is anybody raising prices in one place and lowering them in another. But the reason we're doing it is because we're trying to, again, invest what we have into growing the world that we have. Going back to the question specifically about land affordability, everything is on the table. And as you can see, we review land pricing and kind of the structures that we have to enter the land economy every year or so. And we consider all of these suggestions. So yeah, these are on the table and further changes are definitely possible.
Grumpy, there's a lot of questions that are sort of spin off to that. So I'm going to go deeper on the pricing about land, et cetera. So a follow-up question that comes in our pre-submitted questions speaks to mainland versus estate pricing. So many residents have noticed that private region fees have been reduced while mainland costs have pretty much been unchanged. So what would you say is the long-term vision for mainland, and are there plans to make mainland ownership more attractive or affordable?
Why, yes. I think mainland is a core component of the Second Life experience. And we've tried to lower mainland prices in the past. We've looked at whether we can increase the prim allowance, the land impact allowance on land in mainland as well. We've looked at how to make mainland pricing and billing more sensible, because, oh my God, I know no other product that bills for land the way we bill for mainland. We're also really, we're also looking at ways to reinvigorate mainland, and while keeping the free spirit of it alive, also make things more lively. And I think we'll continue to iterate. Long-term vision is a difficult one because, to an extent, right, like the long-term vision for mainland is still a little bit more of a Wild West than private estates. So trying to balance the kind of open, free spirit experience and continuity of it at the same time as making it reasonably affordable.
There is another series of land questions specifically for those that have an interest in our grandfathered region program. There's some people that purchase the grandfathered rates. So some of the long-term estate owners feel that the recent pricing changes have reduced the value of the grandfathered or discounted rates that they've had for years. How do you balance making land more affordable for everybody while also recognizing and rewarding these long-standing landowners?
Grandfathered regions are pointless now.
It's a tough one, right? Because on the one hand, we absolutely recognize the commitment that people have had to Second Life through the fact that they've been owning grandfathered regions for so long. On the other hand, I don't know of any other investment ever anywhere that has brought returns like grandfathered regions have, right? A buy down 10 years ago has paid for itself, I don't know how many, 1,000 times over. And so in order for us to make land more affordable for everyone, we really do have to make it more affordable for everyone. It can't continuously favor just one group of people who were able to be there in a timely way, or who could get in on this opportunity at the time when it was available. In general, right, every time you have a program like this, it's the newer people getting into the economy who would then essentially be subsidizing the grandfathered regions.
That's true.
We don't want to discourage newer people getting into the economy either, right? And so, again, it's a question of how do we maintain a healthy world? And this is the best way that we know how.
Thank you, Grumpy. And a reminder to everybody that we will be circling back to additional questions that you have in text chat. Missy will be helping us to filter through those. There are additional pricing questions that are not land-based. So we've got two other ones that I want to jump before we go to the next topic. One has to do with premium price increases, our paid membership plans. So many residents understand the need to invest in Second Life's future, but some were surprised by recent premium membership price increases. What factors drove that decision, and how do you measure whether residents are receiving enough value in return?
The only people who can truly measure whether they're receiving enough value are our residents, right? If you receive the value that is meaningful for you to continue to subscribe, you continue to subscribe. But certainly we've looked at many ways to figure out the best way to approach this. One of them was we looked across the industry and we said, what is a typical annual discount versus monthly price? So that was one thing that was guiding us. And we still find that what we're offering as an annual discount for a subscription is more generous than you will see across many other products. Another way is that we said, okay, we have to increase prices, but how can we make subscriptions more accessible? So we didn't increase prices on Plus because we want to keep the barrier to entry into a subscription as low as possible. And at the same time, we also did not include increase the prices on Premium Plus No Stipend. So it is an opportunity for anyone who wants to keep all of their Premium or Premium Plus benefits practically at the same price, right, as a premium subscription. And they are able to retain all of these by going into a no stipend subscription. I am not trying to say that like pricing hasn't changed. Obviously it has. But that is the approach we took to keep Second Life accessible.
Okay, and I imagine just to, we'll look and see the community chat questions here in a minute, but I would imagine there will be some inquiries as to whether there'll be future iterations and changes to the paid membership plans. I mean, already just previewing questions about, can people expect future changes, for example?
Yes, always. Right? Change is the currency of living. So sure, we are always looking at what the premium benefits are. We're always looking at ways to expand the value of a subscription. And I think, all right, story time. In 2017, I was a wee product manager at Linden Lab. And I was looking at our premium subscriptions and I saw that the number of subscribers just kept going down and down and down. And I was looking at what we offer and I made a presentation for a summit that we had that was literally like, premium, we can do better. And since then, I'd like to claim that we have continued to invest in the premium benefits that we offer. We've made subscriptions more and more and more valuable. We've offered and extended them. We've come up with different ways to have a subscription to benefit different use cases for Second Life. And we're going to continue to review them. There's a new program that is a partnership with creators that offers gifts that are different from all the gifts we've offered before. And we are going to look at other benefits again and evaluate whether those can go into a subscription, whether there's additional value that we can offer. Absolutely. We've, I think, shown and proven that our subscription program is not staying static.
Thank you. I know we have a lot of questions about the product vision and future development, but let me do one last pricing question from the pre-submitted ones on a topic we haven't quite touched on yet, which is the Linden dollar economy and pricing. So residents have questions about the broader economy, from the Linden dollar exchange rates and occasional promotional sales to payout limits and international payment options. Are there any plans to make the Second Life economy more accessible and flexible for residents around the world?
Yes. You know, the Second Life economy is one of my favorite topics. You know, I go out, I meet new people, I tell them about Second Life economy and their jaws drop because, to an extent, because of the complexity. And looking at our economy, sometimes you have to think like, really, we have a currency exchange inside Second Life? Wow. And who does it benefit, right? Like, is it beneficial for Second Life residents to be subject to a currency exchange? And how do we make this a fair proposition for everyone who is here so that They can have a way to come in and participate in the economy in a less confusing way, right? Like, what do new people coming into Second Life think about having a currency exchange as their first interaction with the economy? I have an answer to that. It's not like a hypothetical question. We actually know it's confusing. And maybe every 10th person thinks it's really cool because it kind of is. So we're trying to find ways to focus on the core value that Second Life has. While super duper cool, I don't know that, the Lindex is the core value of Second Life. So how do we make some of these things easier to digest? As for international payment options, yes, absolutely. We are constantly looking for ways to extend our international payment options because we realize that we don't fully support all people who would want to be participating in the economy. I have no promises yet, but stay tuned. I hope to be able to talk about more of these as soon as we're actually able to have plans.
Thank you, Grumpy. I'm glad we tackled that up front. That is really a lot of questions on that particular area. So let's move on to product vision and future development. A lot of questions in this area. I'm going to talk a little bit here with the questions that have come in about some of the projects that we've tested out to expand Second Life as we know it. For example, Project Zero, which is the web-based Second Life viewer. So many residents were disappointed by that closure. It did offer a path into Second Life for people who had older hardware or maybe had limited installation options. Can you maybe share just a little bit of insights into the decision that was made on Project Zero?
It was too expensive to run, simple as
operational,
that.
or business reasons that led to ending the projects? And really, what did we learn from that experiment?
Mm-hmm. So what we learned is that it was a really cool experience to be able to take advantage of, especially for something like SL23B. And it was really expensive. We were looking for ways to A, make it less expensive, B, validate whether it could pay for itself in some way. But ultimately, it was a decision based on two factors. One of them was we did not see the effect on conversion of new users that we were hoping to see. And two, we couldn't find a way for this to pay for itself. We weren't trying to make money on it. We were really just trying to come out neutral on the cost, and that wasn't really going to happen. So in order for us to keep browser-based access to Second Life, you would see other prices going up a lot more, and that's not something we were willing to do. That said, honestly, like on a day like today, I'd love to log in through Project Zero and have no lag and no trouble sitting in a 300 avatar event.
There is some interest in browser-based access, and so maybe although that Project Zero itself has ended, maybe thinking about the third-party browser-based solutions that may exist, do you still see a future where browser access could return in some form, or were there fundamental technical limitations that just made a web-based Second Life impractical today?
I think browser-based access could return if someone could figure out a way to meaningfully monetize it. We found the cost to us to still come out almost to like $2 a minute. I mean, an hour, not a minute, $2 an hour. And that's with like optimized pricing. There's a way to get those costs lower at lower quality streaming. And so if someone were to find a way to do this, sure, but I don't think too many of us would be willing to pay that price. especially considering how much time, Second Life residents spend in Second Life. That becomes really expensive. It's possible. I think that if someone were able to find a solution to the cost of streaming, there are no technical limitations to making it possible. I think we'd be happy to share what we learned through Project Zero if someone wanted to pick that up.
Let's continue our line of questioning about product vision and future development. Another area that's been of great interest over several years now is mobile. And I know that you've had, a great involvement in this. So what major features are next on the roadmap for the mobile app, particularly around things like inventory management and deeper parity with the desktop experience?
I'm so glad you asked, because it gives me the opportunity to note that I am coming to you on mobile. My avatar is currently logged in on the mobile viewer. I am reading the chat in world on mobile, and it's kind of really cool. So I think mobile development has come a long way. I am thrilled that I'm able to attend in-world events on my phone, and it's not a particularly fancy phone either. Where we plan to go is a wonderful question as well. The focus for the team right now is actually to give mobile a little bit more overhead to improve performance, to have more predictable performance of the app. And we're doing that through an optimization of how the app is built. It should give us the opportunity to build out the experience further. We're not necessarily approaching the mobile roadmap through a feature parity approach. We're thinking about how do we build out a mobile experience that's complementary to the desktop. So for example, just like uploading assets through P0 was never going to be a good experience, uploading assets on mobile is probably also not ever going to be the primary path, right? It's not going to be the device through which you do creation. But it will be the device through which you stay connected and you stay in touch with your Second Life world. And also, a lot of thinking is going into avatar customization. So both for a newer user coming into Second Life and for someone who's been here for 17 years, being able to sit on your phone and go shopping and try stuff on is a particularly satisfying thing to do while you're sitting on the bus or on your couch, as the case may be. So we are, avatar customization is the bane of my personally professional existence because it is amazing and so rich and so complicated. Bringing that experience to mobile, or actually even making that experience more accessible on desktop, are challenges that we're tackling head on.
There were some questions about the pace of and/or what to expect from future feature development. So people obviously are looking for things that show innovation and changes to advance Second Life as a platform, particularly in the light of competition. So what major areas of innovation are you most excited about today, and what kinds of quality of life graphics or avatar improvements can residents realistically expect over the next few years?
I'm going to take this opportunity to say my new favorite phrase, which is Jerome's problem now. Obviously, this isn't Jerome's problem exclusively, but he and I spent time together thinking about the technological innovation that is kind of the low-hanging fruit that is available to us. So there are several things that he and the engineering team will be able to talk about for performance and quality of life tomorrow. And I'll pop into the auditorium to listen and heckle them in chat. At the same time, what we're thinking about for avatar improvements really is going to be a focus on accessibility from a new user's perspective. It doesn't mean we're going to dumb things down, but it does mean that that we're looking at the customization flow to make it possible for a new person coming in to understand how to not wear 7 jackets. Because I know it's happened to every person here.
But wearing 7 jackets is fun.
And another feature development that honestly I think has been a major benefit is the move to WebRTC Voice. It's been a long and slow project, partially because we wanted to make sure that we can have support of all of the functionality as we were moving off of Vivox. And I know there's been a few fits and starts. Part of the challenge for us has been making sure that everyone who is using Firestorm, for example, is using the latest version of Firestorm that has all of the fixes in it. And so if you are having trouble with voice, make sure you've upgraded your viewer to get all of the latest fixes. But also, Brett and I, you and I were just talking before this recording, and we were saying, hey, we really should have used voice because we now have moderation tools in World. So we could be using WebRTC Voice and having a real-time conversation with the audience.
Yeah, I love that, and we absolutely should be doing that. Point noted. I got to point out that you didn't mention something that we did get questions about, which is VR support. And I know that's a polarizing topic. Some people like it, some don't. But virtual reality does still remain a dream feature for some residents. So is VR support something that Linden Lab would like to revisit in the future, even if it's not currently on the roadmap?
I would love to walk around Second Life in VR. It's an absolutely dream experience. But to be brutally honest, while we're not ruling it out, there's no reason why we couldn't work on it. We're not actively working on it. It's certainly possible for this to be on the roadmap. There's no huge technical limitation to keep us from it, but there are a lot of small technical limitations of optimizing user-generated content to perform in VR in a way that's not going to make the audience puke. And it is, right? It's a bit of a struggle, and we've also seen kind of globally, right, that the VR market has shrunk a bit.
Okay, so you're not saying never, but it's just not.
I'm not saying never. Absolutely not.
Okay. Similarly, we have questions about other platforms that we might expand to. I've heard this over the years. Hey, why aren't we on PlayStation or consoles, Steam, et cetera, et cetera? So are there plans to bring Second Life to additional platforms like Steam, game consoles, or other emerging devices in the future?
I would say Steam is a lot more likely than a console. But all of these require, it's not just a technological change, right? It's a lot of negotiations and contracts and agreements and revenue shares and raising prices in order to pay for those revenue shares. And we ultimately, with every one of these decisions, I'm being way more transparent than I perhaps should, right? But with every one of these decisions, we have to consider the effect on the world and on our residents. If we were to raise prices 30% in order for us to be able to pay for a different platform, is that a good idea? Is that a bad idea? Hard to say.
Well, I have my
Plus, the
first
consoles
question
are
for you,
full of
Kira.
kids.
First, and there'll be several here, but the first one has to do with traffic bots, and we got a lot of people asking about this. So residents continue to raise concerns about traffic bots and scripted agents affecting discovery and search. What progress is being made to address bot-related issues across the grid?
So I hear this a lot. You know, I wear two hats. I'm manager for trust and safety and also support. So I hear a lot of feedback that comes into both of those teams, specifically about bots. And I know that this is a hot topic, and I know that it's one that matters to a lot of folks here. So I just want to kind of, you know, be straightforward with this. Right now, we're not looking to address any bot activity broadly. It's not a focus right now. We do take a look at, you know, all of the reports and all the feedback that comes in, and we look at how bots are interacting within Second Life, how they're interacting with other residents, and we try to see, you know, is this a harmful activity, or are they just part of, you know, a larger community, right? Or do they serve a purpose? So, I mean, that being said, bots and scripted agents are absolutely subject to the same rules as, you know, anyone else within Second Life. So, you know, they're subject to terms of service, community standards, and in particular, the official scripted agent policy. I'm not sure if everybody knows that we do have an official scripted agent policy out there, but there are rules around what bots can do and how they can interact. If you are thinking about running bots, make sure you're getting familiar with that particular policy. So the best way forward is if you're seeing bots engaging in activity that is, you know, against terms of service, community standards, the official bot policy, please report it in World Abuse Report. That's going to go right to Trust and Safety Team, so that they have a record of that report and they can start looking into it. Issues get bubbled up to me all the time, especially if we're seeing patterns of certain things. So those will come up to me, and we can take a look and see, you know, what is happening with those bots. What are they doing? And are they adhering to all of those policies? There's a lot of policies they've got to adhere to. So, you know, if you see any bots that are engaging in any kind of like harassment or following residents across regions, if they appear to be made to, you know, cause harm or disruption, or even to deceive residents, please make sure that you're reporting those with the in-world abuse system, and that way my team can go in and take a look at it.
Thank you, Kira. We're going to have some more trust and safety questions in a couple of minutes. Before that, there are some other questions that have come in, really going back to memberships, also some questions about Linden Homes and even last names. Starting with lifetime membership questions. We had a few people asking about these. Will lifetime premium memberships return in the future? And if they do, would newer membership tiers such as Premium Plus or no stipend options be included?
Maybe. Honestly, as we talked about at the top of the hour, yes, we do consider opportunities for extending the value of memberships, and I wouldn't bet on lifetime memberships returning. But if they were, it would be the no stipend options we'd consider and as an opportunity.
Well, Grumpy, there are questions about no stipend more specifically, so that's a good segue to that. Obviously, the Premium Plus no stipend option has been out there. I would argue it's been pretty well received, I think, in terms of the uptake rate. Has Linden Lab considered expanding this model to, say, the regular premium memberships as maybe a lower cost alternative?
First of all, I am thrilled that the no stipend membership has worked so well for our residents. I really think it is a phenomenal value, and I'm glad that so many of you agree. We did consider whether every membership level should have a no stipend option. It's still a possibility. Honestly, it's not anything we're actively working on, but we could maybe possibly in the future. No promises, not on the roadmap. I really do think a no stipend option is fantastic for Premium Plus, though. It literally costs the same as Premium.
There seems to be a lot of interest in Premium Plus and the future value proposition for it. So some residents have asked questions expressing that they feel that the Premium Plus benefits currently favor merchants more than non-merchants. Are there plans to expand Premium Plus benefits, particularly when it comes to things like Linden Homes and land options, so that all Premium Plus members can receive comparable value?
They do benefit creators more.
Okay, so I think this question refers to the commercial parcels that were rolled out. And so that was an example of us thinking about how premium value can be grown. It was a pilot program. There weren't a whole lot that went out, and I'm glad to see that they were so popular. I don't know where they're going to go next. But it is so it's definitely an example of how we try to increase membership value every turn. And yeah, I don't think we're gonna just keep throwing out free land, but I do think we're going to continue iterating on how to give value to all subscribers. And in fact, every time we've looked at premium benefits, what we do is we kind of go through the list and we go, okay, well, the last time we reviewed premium benefits, this particular group seems to have really benefited, but we kind of didn't do anything for another group of residents. So let's think about how to increase value for them. Or how can we find a benefit that is useful to the broadest possible swath of Second Life residents? So yeah, we're open to ideas and we're open to suggestions. Pretty sure it's not free money or like free land forever, but it's somewhere in there.
Yeah, and you had said even earlier the idea that the paid membership tiers, the feature sets will change over time. Like, we may experiment with things, we may see things that are added that are not there currently, we may evolve them. So like, I know I'm speaking from the marketing side, we rotated in Seraphim with Seraphim Gifts, which was a great partnership. And then now we have a Collapse Circle partnership, but there'll be a rotation and changes to these things as well. And they're not all going to be in that bucket. There'll be other kinds of changes as well. Another big question that comes up, particularly as it pertains to the paid memberships, is about Linden Homes, because, and I know this, being internal here, that Linden Homes is a core value proposition for many, many people. They love their Linden Homes. So Premium Plus members often do mention, though, that they have difficulty finding available homes. Are there plans to increase Premium Plus housing inventory?
Yes. Yeah, I think the Linden Homes team is doing the same thing, right? Like they're constantly evaluating what is available, what is out there, what are the occupancy rates on different themes. If you remember, we phased out the old Linden Homes, and as that program was done, there was a lot of handholding that happened to move people into a home that they would be happy with, into places where they would be happy living in their Linden Homes. And yeah, I expect that there will be more Premium Plus inventory rolling out in the future. Certainly as we see uptake on Premium Plus no stipend, right? That means that there's more opportunities for Premium Plus subscribers who want Linden Homes, and that means we gotta make them available.
Kira, turning back to you, I know there's been a lot of interest in the last names option. So last names do remain one of the most popular premium features. A question that we got from several community members has to do with last names in the future. So are there plans to release new names more frequently? For example, bringing back legacy names or expanding custom name options, or just revisiting how last names are offered in general?
So putting out new last names, that's kind of one of my favorite things to do. If you've been following last names, we usually put them around, major events or special occasions. And we try to do, themed naming when it comes to things like that. And if you all don't know, there is actually a link on one of our pages where you can suggest last names to add in. And so we'll frequently go to that spreadsheet. I am telling you, it is enormous. It's like, I don't even know what it's up to now, but it is an enormous list for us to have to go through. And there's a lot of duplicates, of course, but there's some really interesting things on there. And so when we have the opportunity to go through and, you know, put out some new names, we go through the list, we see what's been suggested, you know, especially around events, and see if there's anything there we can pull from. But even when we're going through and we're just rotating some of the names that have been out for quite a while to bring in some new ones, we go to that list and try to bring some in. And we try to do it, you know, it's kind of difficult. You know, we try to get a lot of different, you know, nationalities in there as well. So it's a little bit difficult to get all of them in there, but it's great fun going through those names and trying to find some names to come out. And then we kind of like to try to guess which one's going to be the most popular. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're not so right. But that's kind of a fun thing that we do. But in terms of, you know, bringing back legacy names and expanding, you know, custom name options, that's not something, I mean, it's something that we kind of talk about every now and then. It's not something that we've actually, you know, settled on anything for now, but it is something that we'll talk about and think about, you know, what would it mean to do it? I know we have a really large contingent of people who are like, no, don't bring back my old last name. You know, I'm really proud of my legacy last name and nobody else can get it. And then we have other people who say, well, you know, we want to partner up with somebody and we want them to take our same last name. So, you know, there's arguments on both sides of that. And we're still kind of going through those and, you know, weighing our options and seeing what we can do there. We haven't really decided on anything. Like I mentioned earlier and Grumpy mentioned earlier, there's a lot of change going on right now. And so there's a couple of things that I have ahead of, you know, thinking about something like how we, you know, think about last names again. But it's definitely something that's you know, on my mind, and something that I'd like to get back to at some point, as soon as we get through some other projects.
Thank you, Kara. This next question is also for you as we enter in a cluster of questions about safety, security, and governance, starting with a question about doxing and resident safety. So one resident asks or says and then asks, residents want to better understand how Linden Lab handles serious reports involving doxing and real-world harassment. So what improvements have been made or are being considered to better protect residents and improve communication around these cases?
So the first thing I want to say is my general disclaimer. If you are experiencing in-world harassment, please contact your local authorities, make a report there. We will fully cooperate with law enforcement agencies who investigate those situations. And any official request can be directed to our legal department. And, you know, we are going to cooperate as much as we can with those instances. If there's harassment that you're experiencing that are on other platforms like, you know, Discord, Facebook, Blue Sky, or any other similar services, please use their reporting systems. They all have really easy to find instructions on how to report someone. Our ability to act on other platforms is really restricted. We can only act on the information that we have through Second Life. So please make sure that you're sending a report into whatever platform you're experiencing that harassment on. So with whatever happens in Second Life, so if you're experiencing doxing, harassment within Second Life, please report it immediately. Send an abuse report, fill out the report as best you can with as much information as you can. Those are all reviewed by the trust and safety team, and then they take appropriate action depending on what we find when we do that investigation. Those reports are treated extremely seriously, especially if we're talking about instances of doxing. Sorry, I just totally went blank. We have recently started some in-world office hours with the trust and safety team. So if you have the ability to show up to one of those, I encourage you to show up. There's some rules around what we can and can't talk about there during trust and safety, but the team just had their first meeting a couple of weeks ago. That went really, really well. They gave out a lot of really good information. That's going to be on the third Tuesday of the month, and on the wiki page under user groups is all the information on where to find it and all of that. So, you know, please make sure you're sending the abuse reports in if you're experiencing any of those. contact your local authorities if it's real world harassment, and hit up any kind of reporting system that's on other platforms if you're experiencing that.
Kara, we also have a question as it pertains to multi-factor authentication and security keys in general. Are there plans to expand account security options, such as support for physical security keys as part of Second Life's MFA system?
Yeah, so I feel like I've been talking about account security a lot internally lately. It's something that is really, really high on my agenda, and you'll hear me mention, I think, a couple of times probably, where we have a lot of projects going, and I've got kind of a hierarchy. This one's really at the top. And so we've been taking a look at our current positions and as well as what's out there currently being used by other companies, what's being really effective for other companies. So we do have initiatives underway. I'm personally not going to talk about specifics, but it is a genuine priority for us. It's not sitting festering somewhere. This is an active project that we're working on. But there are steps you can take right now to make sure your account is secure, making sure that you have a really strong, unique password. Don't reuse passwords. Enabling MFA, keeping your account's email address current are some of the best ways to make sure that your account is secure. One thing that we see is people using the same password, between platforms or even with their email. And, once one of those passwords gets found out, if they've got access to other things, they're all over the place. So make sure you're using some unique passwords. Grumpy might have a few insights to share in terms of what it is that we are looking into, though.
Yeah, I like how you set that up, Kira. We were like, I'm not going to give anything away, but Grumpy... but Grumpy is really tempted to tease something. What I really want is for us to just do the right thing and to have support for every possible way to have multi-factor auth. The next easiest thing that we can do the fastest is email. And so honestly, you should expect support for email MFA coming shortly. Essentially, the experience is, right, instead of having an app that generates a unique code, there would be a message that goes to your email with a code. What you should do in anticipation is make sure your email address is verified. So that you can take advantage of that. And actually, you should just make sure your email address is verified. Did you know that offline IMs can only be sent to a verified email address? You should just make sure your email address is verified. And if I didn't mention that you should make sure your email address is verified, really, I mean, that's just silly. You don't want to lose access to your Second Life account, and the best way to recover it is through having an active, correct, and verified email address on file. Just go to your accounts page and go to the change email section and verify your email address. There. We also recently just started actually running a series of prompts on the accounts pages. So if you haven't verified your email address recently, you would see a prompt when you log into accounts. How was that? I work in tabs, and I have several dozen tabs open in my browser. And I think maybe 3 or 4 of them are different projects on strengthening the MFA offering that we have. So I'll just stop at that.
All right, well, let's keep going. There's still quite a few questions left. I know we're going to go a little long today. There is a question about the group spam. I know I've seen this in the forums as well. Spam sent through disposable groups and self-destructing objects does remain, shall we say, a frustration for many residents. What options is Linden Lab exploring to give residents better protection against these types of abuse?
So this kind of goes hand in hand with the previous question as well. So, making sure things are secure. But You know, we're currently looking at ways to address it. Again, I don't have specifics to share, but it is on our radar. It's something we're taking a look at. And you know, once we do make those updates, we will communicate any updates to the community as soon as we're in a position to do so. But you know, again, for now, the right course of action is sending in that in-world abuse report so that the team can take a look into it. Reporting spam incidents, including, you know, group or object that's used to deliver it. It helps the trust and safety team identify patterns. Again, you know, we look for those kinds of patterns when we get those reports in, and take any actions that we need to. I also want to kind of take this opportunity to talk about something that we've seen a lot in world as well, and that are phishing links that have been showing up. Please be cautious about clicking any links that are delivered through, you know, in-world messages from, you know, someone, even if it's someone who's on your friends list. Look at those links very carefully, just as you would, you know, in the real world. Please make sure you know what you're clicking on. If it takes you to, you know, directly to a website asking for your Second Life, you know, login and password, stop and take a look at that URL really carefully before entering anything else. Phishing sites often, you know, look like a legitimate page while using the URL that's, you know, maybe slightly altered. A lot of what we're seeing is maybe the word marketplace is spelled a little differently, maybe a letter's dropped out. So just be sure to make sure you're looking at those links really carefully. You know, they're going to come at you with, you know, a great deal on, you know, whatever's popular at that time, and you're going to want to click on it and go, I want that. Take a moment and just take a look at the link and make sure you know what you're clicking on. And when asked for that password, username and password, make sure you're really taking a second to stop and pause and take a look at it.
You know, we're also getting a question about age verification and adult content. So as Second Life continues to grow, how is Linden Lab thinking about age assurance and protecting minors from accessing adult content while maintaining the openness that residents value?
So, I mean, this is something that we think really carefully about, protecting minors and, you know, preserving our open, creative adult space that we have and we can create here in Second Life is really important to us. But ultimately, Second Life is designed for adults, and that kind of shapes the decisions that we make across the business, you know, from how we market and where we advertise, how we approach compliance and regulations as they evolve. We're really not interested in becoming a platform for minors, and so we're working to make sure that we're not. On the regulatory side, we're actually encouraged by some of what's emerging. There's some new frameworks that are going to be coming out really shortly that allow platforms to rely on operating system level age signals, meaning the device or operating system itself would carry verified age information that the apps can read. And that kind of standardization, that reliable mechanism, is a really meaningful step forward. It's something that we're watching, you know, really closely and are really excited about.
There is also a question, I'm sure you get this a lot, talking about second chances for banned users. So some residents have asked whether Linden Lab has ever considered a formal quote unquote second chance or account reinstatement program for those that are permanently banned and who may have changed or rehabilitated over time.
Yeah, so I don't know if everyone is aware of this, but we do have an appeal process. So if an account is suspended or is terminated, you do have the ability to appeal it through a support ticket. We do get many appeals, of course, and the team reviews those. And I will say that we never have the same person who did the suspension or the termination review the appeal. That's all kind of separate. We have separate people review those. So, you know, that said, there are certain violations where reinstatement is not possible, depending on, you know, what the violation was. But yeah, there have been many times where we have, you know, reversed our decision based on maybe some additional information that we have received from the resident about the situation, or, you know, maybe additional information that has come up during a more thorough investigation. So it kind of depends on what the situation is. But yeah, we give out second chances a lot based on what we see. But again, there are some that it's not going to be possible for.
Okay, we are going to run officially over our 1 hour scheduled time, so we're going to squeeze in a few more questions and then take some that have been coming in through chat. The next area focuses on community and international residents. We had two residents ask pretty much the same question, basically as it pertains to our international users. What opportunities do you see for better serving residents that are outside of North America? This could be through events, payments, localization, support, or community initiatives.
You know, several. It's a loaded question, right? One of the ways that we can serve international residents is just by making their experience better. By using localization tools that will extend beyond just the UI. So for example, the addition of WebRTC Voice means that our next steps are looking at automated transcription options and automated translation options that would be available to us for people using voice. And that is super cool. This is a benefit not just for, of course, for people who are coming in speaking a different language, but also for anybody with additional accessibility needs. The other ways are to expand available payment and payout methods and making sure that we can support creators who are already in Second Life as well as bringing in new creators. There's also the opportunity to kind of fix lag as the shorthand in Second Life to improve performance at the edges so that people who are further away from where our servers are still have a gooder experience with low latency. And all of these are continuously being reviewed. I'll also say that the easiest way to grow international communities is through tapping those international communities. And in Second Life, certainly like Brazil is a success story like no other because the community in Brazil is so actively involved that more and more people in Brazil come in, and there's a lot of exposure to what a virtual world is and a lot of interest in Second Life specifically. And that has succeeded not because us Lindens are so good at speaking to an audience in Brazil in Portuguese, although there are some Lindens who can do that. But because the community is there and we can do our best to support them. I hope that answers the question.
I think so. There's a lot of questions that came in about group limits. So there's residents and creators are continuing to hit their group membership limits, and that's a bummer, right? Is increasing or fundamentally even rethinking group capacity something that Linden Lab is actively exploring?
You know, at Linden, we have this tool that we use called a magic wand. And it's purely a thinking tool, right? And Brett and I are frequently faced with the question of like, if you had a magic wand, how would you solve this problem? Or what would you do? If I had a magic wand, groups would not be such an overloaded concept in Second Life. Like land ownership would be separate from store support, would be separate from I don't know, access to shopping events, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't think I get a magic wand to undo this. So the only things we can do are improve infrastructure and increase those limits. And yeah, it's on the table. We're looking at it at all times.
Next question goes back, I think it's to Kira for support and operations. So this would be very interesting for people to hear your perspective and insights on the support team with customer success. Residents often do interact with support, but they know very little about how it operates behind the scenes. How is the support team structured, and how does the resident feedback really influence recognition and rewards for the staff?
Yeah, so our support organization, it's made up of 3 teams. 2 of those are mine. They're each focused on a distinct area of the resident experience. So we have customer success and trust and safety. Those are both my teams, both part of the support operations. And then we have the land team, and that's part of product operations. Like I said, it's kind of a flat structure, and that allows us, to have people who specialize in those 3 different areas. They have the most knowledge in those areas, and so it's easier to get help when you have questions about any of those 3. As for how resident feedback works, I'm not sure how many of you have seen the surveys that come out after a support interaction after you submitted a ticket. Those are sent out kind of randomly, but those do get sent out to get some feedback from you all. Those responses don't just disappear somewhere into a spreadsheet. I take a look at them. We actually have it kind of on a rolling basis in one of our communications tools that shows me, the good and the bad feedback, because the bad is just as important as the good. When it's positive, gets recognized as part of that agent's, performance review. But I also like to take a step back and ask, what made that interaction stand out? What was so great about that interaction that made somebody say, hey, this was terrific? And if there's something there worth learning from, we share that with the rest of the team and say, hey, this made this interaction really special. Let's make sure we do more of that. So we share that with the rest of the team. When it's maybe a not so great experience, we treat it as a learning opportunity rather than simply just, a mark against someone. We take, a look honestly at where things went wrong. We look at that entire interaction. Whether it's, a process, a communication, or something else entirely. And we use that to improve. The teams are genuinely committed to getting support right, and that kind of feedback helps get us more in that right direction. So I'm really happy whenever any of you take the time to fill those out. I know, personally, when I see those forms come in after an interaction elsewhere, I'm like, ugh, I don't want to do another survey. But I really do appreciate the time that you all spend on those, because it really does help to shape the teams themselves and how we interact with you all. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Kara. And Missy has been really good at kind of monitoring the text chat. So we have several of them that have come in over the last hour. We're going to kind of fire through as many of them as we can before we wrap up here. There were a couple questions that came in from Eris. I hope I'm getting the names pronounced correctly. Have you thought about changing the tier calculation for mainland away from powers of 2 and more towards being able to just pay for exact square
Yes,
footage?
redo
Is
mainland
that something
tiers.
that we can answer here, or do we defer to one of the other Q&As?
I mean, there's no direct answer. Have we thought about it? Yes. And we're currently evaluating a lot of things about land offerings overall and land pricing and mainland. So yes, again, I'd love to move away from this crazy payment system that we have for mainland. I mean, we charge in powers of 2 by however much you owned at any point during the month. We bill in arrears because we can't bill ahead. I mean, it's crazy. Every time I think about it, I get a migraine. So I would like to not get a migraine. There's a lot of complexity in how to unwind something we've done for so long and how to change it in a way that benefits everybody who's already here, as well as everybody who will come and participate in mainland ownership in the future. But man, yes, I would love to do that.
All right. So the same resident has another follow-up question, maybe a different topic, but talking with some of my creator friends, I'm seeing a growing sentiment of, is it even worth it to keep creating for this platform? Specifically, that's triggered by the growth of AI-generated meshes, textures, etc. So as a consumer among the flood of low-quality AI mesh and AI-generated ads, it's just getting harder to find well-made human-created stuff. So is this issue on your radar? What's your plan to keep existing creators and artists on this platform instead of jumping ship to other growing platforms?
This is a great and complex question. If I were just to be facetious, I could say this is a problem that is faced by every platform. And the faster they grow, the more they're facing this problem. It's a problem I face in my daily life, outside of Second Life as well. And I think, our little company alone can't solve it. But we're definitely looking at what tools are available and, more importantly, effective, outside of our ecosystem so that we can learn from them and improve our ecosystem. At the same time, the things that we do differently are, um, honestly, how much earnings you get to keep. We consistently try to make sure that the creators get to keep as much of their earnings as possible. And this is true yesterday and today, right? Even with any changing of the Lindex fees that has happened over time, the amount that a creator gets to keep of their earnings is incomparable. Something like Roblox gives you 40%. But the other thing we're trying to do is obviously grow the consumer base, right? So that there are more people coming into Second Life, engaging with Second Life, and engaging with your creations, right? And able to take advantage of them. Part of that is discoverability. So yeah, we do want to find ways to help people find good, fun, interesting Second Life content, without putting our foot on the scales too much to decide what that is. And lastly, we are also looking to build out the tool set, with Lua scripting being the most recent addition, but not the only one. And that is one that I will also gladly hand over to Jerome in the next session as well.
Yeah, and as a reminder, Jerome, same time, same place tomorrow, 1 p.m. SLT time is when Jerome and I think a couple of his colleagues, perhaps from the engineering side, will be here to answer questions like that as well. We have a couple more community submitted questions that have been coming in. Thank you, Missy, again. So we're going to fire through them quickly. We are over time, so we'll just get as many of them in as we can. This one has to do with the Linden dollar exchange. Somebody comments, really, today I bought the minimum amount of Linden dollars for US value equivalent of $2.50. But until some time ago, it was Linden dollars 512. Now it's Linden dollars 490, I guess, for that amount of money. I wonder if there's been an evaluation of the Linden dollar versus the US dollar.
So one of the things that happened was that we lowered the minimum fee for the Linden dollar. So you used to be charged $1.50 to buy Linden dollars, and now as the minimum fee, and now it is 49 cents. When you buy Linden dollars in the viewer, what happens is actually this complex operation on the back end, where there's this API that goes back and says, what is the current market rate? The current market rate on the Lindex is, I don't know, $2.50. Okay, so you can buy one Linden dollar. I mean, $1 is 250 Linden dollars, and then there's $1.50 fee. So that is how you would get 250 Linden dollars. When the exchange rate fluctuates, so does the amount that you get. By us lowering the minimum fee, you would actually get a larger amount. However, the exchange rate does fluctuate. This brings me back to the point that this is insanely complex and shouldn't be. So we're looking for ways to simplify and actually let you know exactly how much you're going to get when you buy Linden dollars, by basically matching the experience more closely to like every other platform out there. Stay tuned. No specific announcements yet, but we just want to make it more accessible.
Another question that's come in the last 30 minutes or so. This one's from Anna. I'd like to find out if there are possible plans for Premium Plus homesteads to have a larger land impact allowance than 5K, maybe closer to 10K, half a regular region. Premium Plus are allowed to get a homestead without having to have a regular region first, but the limited land impact on homesteads is somewhat off-putting.
I don't have a yes or no answer. We're definitely evaluating the existing land offerings and trying to balance value and cost. And we're looking at homesteads along with all of the others. No promises. I understand the interest in being able to own land for less with more capabilities. That's really what we've been trying to do over multiple changes in both pricing and the capabilities that exist. So we have made owning an estate cheaper than ever, and the 30K extension is cheaper than ever. So maybe at some point it will become accessible enough for people to consider that instead of a homestead.
Another question, I would like to know what Linden Lab plans to really support small, nonprofit educational projects in Second Life.
I'm not sure how to answer that because I think we need more specifics. We're open to ideas. We do monitor the suggestions that are submitted through the feedback portal. We also have opportunities for creators to pitch ideas to Linden as partnerships.
Yep.
And so, yeah.
And the education discount
Brett?
too, right? Yeah, the education discount as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And EDUs actually received just a flat 50% off on land ownership. So if there's something that you're trying to do, the $99 for land should make it a lot easier to get it done.
Okay, another question from Barb. I'm wondering if there would ever be the possibility of adding a creator tier subscription. She mentions that I'm subscribed for the free uploads. I don't need the gifts, the stipend, etc. What are your thoughts about that? And then there's a follow-up to that.
I mean, we kind of actually, created Premium Plus as a creator tier subscription level, although certainly we were just looking for a way to offer more of everything. And by giving free uploads, that really did extend it. Open to suggestions and ideas, open, among other things, to ways to extend premium benefits to people who own private estates, for example, or who rent land on a private estate. Let us know. Give us suggestions. They just may spark an idea for how we can get things done that you specifically want.
Barb also
there
has
was a
another
time when I thought we couldn't bring back last names, and then boom, and a year's worth of effort, and we were able to bring back last names, and all of you have shown us just how popular and powerful that has been, because they continue to stay as popular as the day we rolled them out, which is crazy. Thank you. I'm glad that it's worked.
All right,
Sorry,
Barb
go
had
ahead.
Barb had a follow-up to that, a separate question. Also, I would like to have a general update on some of the projects that Second Life has been testing over the last year or so. I know a lot of things have been attempted, what has worked and what hasn't worked. Any transparency there would just be great.
Great question. I love it. I tried to get into that a little bit in the beginning. We tested various ways to bring new users into Second Life. We looked at both different campaigns and different channels for bringing people in, right? We have multiple clients. We used to have 3 where we rolled out mobile and tried to onboard people through mobile. We rolled out Project Zero, and we're trying to bring in new people through Project Zero by lowering the barrier to entry, essentially, on both. Um, and what we saw is actually that the desktop experience did really quite well, better than we expected at bringing in new users. So a lot of our focus is on how to improve that experience for new users. And so we looked at creator-built experiences in ways that those experiences could engage new users. We did some experiments. We found out that some work better than others. We also found out that having someone support and guide new users makes a difference. A lot of the stuff really, when you look back on it, you go, but of course. But this is the effect of experimentation in general. I come from a background in psychology, and this effect in psychology happens all the time. Anytime someone runs an experiment, once the results come out, there's some sort of a popular wisdom that says, of course, that's the way that it should be. But until we're able to prove it, and to build on these effects that we see, a lot of it is just conjecture and our best wishes. So yeah, we did a lot of experiments with onboarding. We looked at creator-built experiences. We also looked at changes to the UI. So for example, Project Zero enabled us to make some changes to the UI that a new user sees by hiding a lot of the complexity. And we did an A/B test, and we were able to see that there was an improvement in early retention for people who saw this minimal, slick UI that allowed them just to do the few things that you want a new user to do. So while we're not doing this in Project Zero anymore, we're bringing it to a new user-specific viewer experience so that they will get a client they can work with. We're looking at ways to lower the barrier to entry, literally, right? Like, how do we bring a new user in? Where do we lose and confuse them in the funnel? What are the technical difficulties that our new user encounters, and can we smooth the way? We made some huge gains in mobile in onboarding, and we're trying to learn from that and bring that into desktop. We're thinking about how avatar customization can be improved for someone coming into Second Life. It's hellaciously complex in the viewer, but it's nigh impossible on mobile, so we have to address both. The complexity that we currently expose to everyone needs to be only accessible if people really need it, but otherwise we want to kind of reveal it in layers instead. That's been a lot of where our focus has gone, but at the same time we're looking at which is how do we make Second Life easier to discover and come into, but at the same time we're also looking at a lot of ways to keep and grow value for the people who've already discovered the beauty of Second Life and who are here and want all of the complexity.
All right, well, I'm looking at the time, and I know we're about to lose you both, so I will call it a day here on the questions. I want to note to everybody that we do see a few comments and questions. We're keeping the text of this to kind of go through it afterwards. We'll be probably rerouting some of the questions to other Q&A sessions this week. As a reminder, same place, same time, 1 p.m. SLT time tomorrow. We have the engineering team, Then on Thursday, we have marketing and growth. And then on Friday, we have the Second Life Studios team with the moles. So lots of additional opportunities for interacting with us and answering even more questions. I also want to remind everybody that we will have a recording of this session on our socials shortly. Later today, you can find that on both YouTube and Facebook. So keep an eye there after every session for the recordings, and those will be placed there, which probably within the hour or two. If you want to learn more, you can go to our website to find out more with a full schedule of SL23B stuff. secondlife.com/SL23B is sort of a centralized spot with the events and all sorts of things from there as well. I want to thank both Grumpity and Kiera for being here. There has been a lot of topics that have been covered today. And of course, thank you to everyone here for joining us today. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much, Brett. Happy birthday, Second Life. And I can't wait to see you all around parties. Thank you.
Thanks for being here, everybody.
And there we have it, folks. That was the product team. Let's just fade that music out, shall we? That was... Well, I've just lost the fly cam again. Seriously? Hold on. Let's turn that down. There we go. That was a very, very interesting talk. That was a very interesting talk. Some of the things that Grumpity said, yeah, it's true. The whole grandfathered region thing. If you go to the absolute, I'm not going to swear during this. I'm not. But if you go to the absolute hellhole that's known as the official Linden Lab Second Life forums, yeah, one of the big bugbears with the new land pricing system was grandfathered regions are essentially pointless now. If you look at the price of a 20,000 prim region, the way the new pricing structure is, right? You look at the price of a 20,000 prim region and then compare it to the buy-in or the sale price of a lot of those old grandfathered regions. Grandfathered regions are pointless. They're pointless now. And there was a huge uproar about that on the Second Life forums. But Grumpity had a point. If you've had a grandfathered region, even for half a decade, it's basically paid for itself. It's paid for itself. Definitely paid for itself. If you've had a grandfathered region for a decade, yeah, you've got your money back plus some. So, yeah, I mean, the grandfathered region thing could not go on indefinitely. And the way that Linden Lab are slowly moving, they've admitted it themselves, they want to take the emphasis away from Linden Lab making money from land to Linden Lab making more money from the marketplace. And what you're seeing with the restructuring of the land price structure for private estates is the first step on that path. That's what they're doing. There will come a time when, and I'm going to make a prediction right now, folks. I'm pretty good at these predictions. I'm going to make a bet with you all here that's watching this stream on June the 23rd, 2026. I think within the next 3 years, current tier prices for a 20,000 prim sim and a 30,000 prim sim in 3 years will be half of what it is now. That's a prediction I'm making right here. Half of what it is right now. Because Linden Lab have already said they want to drop land prices down substantially and they want to start making more money by skimming profits from the marketplace. And this is the first step on that path, folks. It's the first step on that path. But that was a very good meeting. That was a really good meeting. Some of the answers they were given, I was like nodding along in agreement. Very good meeting. But the one I'm looking forward to is the one that's on tomorrow. It's Meet the Lindens, the engineering team. And hopefully they're going to be answering questions to do with the fact that Second Life is currently on a dead platform that's known as OpenGL. OpenGL has not been developed since 2017. The development team that was part of OpenGL moved on to Vulkan, which is basically OpenGL 2.0. There is rumours going around in the tech blogs that NVIDIA, that owns 90% of the graphic card market, with 90%, roughly speaking, of people that use Second Life having an NVIDIA graphics card, there's rumours that by the end of this year, NVIDIA is going to depreciate the OpenGL API calls, which basically means that in 2027 or 2028, more than likely 2028, right? But in 2027 or 2028, once NVIDIA have announced the depreciation of OpenGL in the driver stack for all NVIDIA graphics cards, if they make a change to the drivers, let's say for the Unity game engine or the Unreal game engine, and that change breaks something in OpenGL to the extent that any OpenGL platform game will not load on an NVIDIA card, they can't do a thing about it. This is Second Life. Linden Lab won't be able to do a thing about it because NVIDIA's already announced the depreciation. Apple's already going down this road. They've already announced the depreciation of the OpenGL calls on the Apple graphics drivers. Intel have announced the same thing for their graphics cards that they're bringing out now. The only graphic card company that has not announced a depreciation of the OpenGL calls is AMD. But AMD, the Radeon market, is like 7%. NVIDIA's the big elephant in the room, and it's the elephant in the room that the engineering team have got to address tomorrow. Because if Linden Lab do not go down the road of starting to implement Vulkan codebase on top of the existing OpenGL codebase, you're going to be looking at in 2 years' time, NVIDIA is going to change something to the driver stack of all NVIDIA graphics cards, and Second Life, all of a sudden, won't be able to run on 90% of people's computers logging into Second Life. Linden Lab have got to do something now before it's too late. They've known that OpenGL has been dead since 2017 and they have done nothing about it. Nothing about it. And I think this is going to come back and bite them in the rear next year. I honestly think they do. This is why I'm really looking forward to the engineering team meeting tomorrow, because they're going to have to answer the Vulkan question. That's Vulkan, not Mr. Spock, Vulcan. Vulkan is essentially OpenGL 2.0. That's basically what it is. But it's a completely different code base with completely different API calls compared to OpenGL that we're using right now. Completely different. And yeah, they're going to have to answer it. I know I submitted a couple of questions in, but they're very technical questions, and I'm going to be surprised if Brett actually asks them, because here's the thing, folks. I was on the OpenGL development team from 2010 to 2016. I was on the original dev team was like 1990s, but I was on the dev team from 2010 to 2016. I decided not to make the jump over to the Vulkan dev team when they basically shuttered OpenGL, because by that point in time, I was a little bit disenfranchised with the gaming scene. Well, not a little, but I was extremely disenfranchised with the gaming scene, and I went down a different path. I went down the path of journalism, actually. I went to work with the BBC. But yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting meeting tomorrow with the engineering team. That's basically it from me, folks. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Same time, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Second Life time, same place on this channel, and it's going to be Meet the Lindens, the engineering team. Hope to see you all there. If you are going to watch even one of these live streams, the engineering team, that's the one that's going to be important, because that's going to make or break what happens to Second Life over the course of the next 5 years. Because if Second Life is not ready for the depreciation of the OpenGL code base, it's over. It's over. Because NVIDIA's not going to care. They don't care right now, to be honest, because it's NVIDIA, but NVIDIA's not going to care if they break the OpenGL code base in 2 years' time. They'll just say, oh well, sucks to be you, moving on. Anyway, that's it from me, folks. I will see you all same time, same place, tomorrow. Have a good one.